Yeah, Black
All right,
didn't
guys.
have it's Black varsity.
All right, so this is our second meeting. We're gonna go ahead and get started here, okay? I had to split you guys up last time into two groups because the 10 group was just a little bit too big. Right, Ashley? And you were having two separate conversations anyway. So about halfway through last week, I split you up into two groups, and it seemed to work a lot better. You guys could have your own conversations together. I expect you guys to still run your own meeting, even with me kind of going between the two groups. You guys did a pretty good job of that yesterday, or last time that we were together. So I just want to double check with you, and I want you to tell me to make sure that we all understand how you are supposed to conduct these meetings and run your own meeting. So first of all, who remembers and can tell me where are you supposed to start?
Where you left off, like the end.
Where you left off in the end, why?
So that it's a recall.
Recall, yeah, but why specifically do I want you to tell me where it ended, Christopher?
So like you can refresh your minds of what happened at the end.
Yeah. Why? Manas?
If you read ahead,
If you read ahead, it's a warning to you to not talk about anything that happened after our reading. I know all of you could go home and read this book tonight. That's not the point. The point is that you are all to have read to a specific spot and stopped so that you all can come together with the same information and have a legitimate conversation. I don't want any psychics amongst my group knowing what's going to happen in the future if you're making predictions, okay? So we're all supposed to be on the same page. So if you read ahead, because sometimes I know it's just too good to put down, if you read ahead, this is a warning to you. Do not talk about anything this end point, past this end point. All right, so now you know where you start. Then what do you do next? What do you do next? Ashmal?
Someone starts, they ask questions, like someone has to start,
Right, so you established where the book ended, so now what do?
you could share one of your questions or...
No. I'm glad I'm
wait,
doing
no.
this and touching base with you first. All right, somebody from this group. This group kind of has it down. This group, you guys have two separate groups running your own meetings. I need to make sure you know what you're supposed to do.
An area where you don't know, what you don't understand or anything.
No. Your procedure going, Kayla.
Where you started.
Where you started. You
You
established
go
where you
ended
ended.
and started.
You go back to where your reading started. Okay, so now you have your set area of where you're talking about. You know what happens at the end. You know what happens at the beginning. Then, Ashmal, what do?
Well, you don't understand, like, anything. If you don't
You
understand
take
any
yourself
part,
through it, and if you have questions or don't understand something, you ask your group mates, yes. What else do you do aside from just asking questions? What else do you do while you're going back through what you read? Manas?
you make connections.
Make connections. What does he mean by make connections, Jada?
Like if you've seen a movie or read another book about something
So if
similar
you've
to
seen a
that.
movie, read another book or something, you bring that to the table and share that with your group members, okay? So you're slowly going back through what you read. You're making connections, you're asking each other questions based on what we read, all evidence based in the book. Now, that in itself could take this entire time, and if it does, great. If there's one area you guys want to focus on and argue about, fine, that's up to you. I let you guys determine what you're talking about. I let you guys run your discussions, that's fine. But let's say you go through all of your reading and you get back to the end and you're just sitting there staring at each other uncomfortably. Then what are you supposed to do?
QAR.
I'm sorry?
QAR.
You can go to your QAR, but which one specifically in your QAR?
The on my own.
The on my own question, that's that fluffy question at the end that you're going to ask somebody in your group, or ask your group the opinion question. You're not going to tell them your answer, you're just going to ask the group the opinion question, let the group talk about it for a while, and then when their responses die down, you can share what your answer was, and then you can continue on with other people's QAR on my own question. So let's say you do that, and somehow you still have more time left on the clock. Then what do? Jada?
You can search ISIC.
I'm sorry?
ISIC.
Yeah, you go to your journal questions. So those long journal questions, the extended responses that you wrote, you're going to share the question, not your answer. You're going to share the question with your group. You as a group will talk about your responses to that question, and then when it kind of dies down, you can share your own response. That doesn't mean, Jada, or anybody, that you read. Nobody wants to sit and listen to you read your paragraph. You can paraphrase it for them, tell them the evidence, okay? So between going through everything that you read, between asking the questions, making the connections, arguing, talking about what you read, your QAR on my own questions, sharing those with the group, and your ICE questions, your journal extended response questions. Through all of those things, you have a lot to keep you on task, talking and focused, okay? You know my expectations. If you are contributing to the conversation the entire time, you get all of the credit. You contribute only about half the time, you only get about half the credit, which isn't so good. All right, so you know what I'm expecting of you in this. I will be coming around between both groups, kind of a figure eight, just listening to what you're saying, and I'll base your speaking grade off that. I will also be coming around grading some of your assignments. With 10 of you and the time that we have, I don't know that I'm going to be able to give you all feedback during that time. Those of you that I do not get feedback on today, I will take them home and make sure I give them feedback for you guys tomorrow. But I will do my best to both listen to you guys, assign speaking grades, and get your stuff graded back in your hands so that you can use it to do better for next week. Yes?
Are you still going to go around and, like, if you're talking a lot, are you going to mute people still?
Yes, I'm still going to mute people if you're talking too much, okay? Now, it's not a bad thing. It means you basically already have 100%, but we need to give an opportunity sometimes to let other people step in. And it's a warning to the other people too. It's like, hey, this person that has a lot to say isn't going to say anything for a little bit. Let's let somebody else step up and share what's on their mind too, okay? So it's not a bad thing, but if I need to mute you, I will mute you for a couple of minutes, and then you just watch the clock and see, okay? Any other questions? All right.
Wait.
Yes?
How long do, if you mute us, how long are we muted?
It depends on how much you're talking. Usually it's like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, okay? Any other questions? All right, it's your show. Begin.
Oh, do you guys want me to do again? Yeah. I don't really remember the last. Who remembers the last ending? I know a topic to start out, but I don't. I remember the ending. The ending was about the Black Monday book that, I don't remember his name. I know Black Monday, Brady, he wrote the Black Monday book, and people are starting to actually think that was the truth, and they started following everything he said. They thought that was true, and they actually thought his book was like the real thing and stuff.
Wasn't it more about like the board of the education
Decision, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the other big thing that happened is they banned segregation. So now they don't have to go to different schools.
Yeah, that's good.
And they can go like seriously.
No, we're talking about the ending, right?
Oh, sorry. And then the first McDonald's opened up.
What are we talking about?
It says right here. And the burgers are 15 cents.
Why would we put the burger at 50? Okay, never mind.
She asked where he got it from.
Yeah.
And didn't he lie to his school friends that he wasn't going to Mississippi or something?
I don't think so.
No.
Did he?
I just had that.
I don't know him say that.
Yeah.
We didn't. But you know, like he didn't have to go with his great uncle too.
It said they planned a trip to Omaha, but
Yeah, to visit family.
And Emmett's mother, she was like worried that he would be like in trouble there, but there's somewhere where it says, oh yeah, here. It says, just a few weeks before Emmett's arrival in Money, a black teenage girl had been flogged for crowding a white woman in a store. So that could have been one of the reasons.
Like they were also looking out for Emmett too.
but did Emmett go with his mom or his like cousin?
His cousin.
His cousins. He almost didn't go too because he missed the first train. Yeah. And then
Wait, so since
It's,
I think that was page 47. Yeah.
Bobo.
it's cool how they have a McDonald's still back then.
Bobo. Oh, that's his nickname.
Yeah, because Emmett
Bobo?
was spent most. Why did they nickname him Bobo? I think it's just
I don't know. I don't know.
Was it something that has to do with his uncle?
Well, what's his uncle's
No, his
name?
dad. His dad.
What's
I
his
remember.
dad's name?
It
doesn't say it.
It says where his White Sox thing.
It says that Emmett loved White Sox.
Yeah.
On 41, but it says he
thought
likes.
Said something about
He,
that.
I was talking about Jack.
Chapter 3 was like most about his life and how he said he loves jokes. He likes White Sox, and he was bad because he didn't like get to go to a White Sox game one time.
Yeah.
I think Emmett had more friends in Mississippi than in Chicago.
It also
Yeah,
says
maybe.
he different from the rest of the Chicago boys. He seemed more mature, and he liked could talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says he would pay people to tell him jokes. He liked jokes a lot.
Yeah, and also it said he has a stutter too.
Yeah, the local girls found him attractive too. Which probably.
Said he liked to help. Says that he liked to help his neighbors because he always would carry in groceries. He'd shovel the snow even if it was like really cold. He'd like work through it.
Yeah. And he said one day to his
That means he
Mom,
like
if you
doesn't
can
give
go to
up.
work and make the money, I could take care of the home.
And one day he came home and she asked where he got like $15, I think.
Yeah.
And he said that he painted a kitchen. No, painted a hallway and cleaned a kitchen.
Yeah. And his mom thought like the person overpaid.
And so she went over there, and it turns out it was like.
Yeah, he did so much.
I think he should be old enough because he was like 14.
But
That's
still,
like ninth
like
grade.
think when you're around your
Still not,
cousins.
yeah. He's not like.
Oh, he's trying to like
educated.
impress them.
No, not like that.
No,
like
like,
you
he's
know
not
when you're
fully
around your
educated,
friends
yeah.
and stuff.
It was a dare.
Yeah.
He didn't think of
Want
the
to.
consequences.
Yeah, he didn't think what would happen because he wasn't prepared.
have like had the consequence that he got.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like,
No, but I watched a
say
movie,
when
but I
you're
watched
around your
a
friends.
video about him that the boys didn't dare him. They just pulled him out when he was trying to do that. He was like trying to he was trying to like flirt with their like physically.
No, it said
In the
like
book, chapter.
yeah, chapter 1 they were talking about how he got dared. He was like, think if you're with your cousin and friends, you're gonna do stuff like and forget about what your mom said, just do it for fun. You didn't like, and then like she said, he wasn't really prepared. He thought it was silly that he didn't really know the consequences because he didn't live up like that like his mom did.
Yeah.
So
His mom
He
gave him
didn't
a
believe
warning.
it, I think.
Yeah, on page 45 it says if you have to get on your knees and bow when a white person goes past, do it willingly.
That was
Yeah,
in my
and he thought that was
ICIC
unbelievable or
Yeah, he
something.
goes, it's no. I don't think that's right.
because rules were very strict back then, and
Oh
so
wait, his mom.
I think one of these pages it actually says that he thought it was like
Also,
the
it says
craziest thing he ever
it
heard.
says Emmett Till's mom knew that the penalty would come violating a Jim Crow law.
Why did John Bell Williams, why did he make up the term Black Monday? I think that's on chapter 4.
because that
No,
is
it's on chapter 2.
that is very racist too.
He goes, yeah, like, who says that?
Oh, him, the Brady guy.
Yeah, he says, he published a book Black Monday.
Well, what page is it on?
That was on page 30. Oh, this was really mean. You cannot place little white Negro children together in classrooms and not have interrogation. They will sing together, dance together, and eat together, play together. They will grow up together, and the sensitivity of white children will be dulled. So mean.
I know,
Yeah,
they say it like it's like
They say that
really
like it's a
bad.
bad thing.
On page 33, white people were not mean, were really mean to the Negroes because it says, there's a picture of a boy saying, we won't go to school with
That's
Negroes.
like their reaction to
See, we're in school.
And he's smiling about it too.
African-American school right now.
Yeah.
We're not dull. I think we're all perfectly fine.
It could also happen over there.
Yeah, just because they're older doesn't mean they're smarter and they're like mature. They could be like,
She thinks
hey,
that
yeah,
On page
like
34.
But some of them.
like a completely unrelated subject. Gang members, they're old, but you think they're mature, but they're not.
I don't understand why when they had the public school rule, like it said, unfortunately, violence increased. Which wouldn't that like decrease it since
Oh,
the
I know.
segregation already
I know why it increased. It was because they said when this guy, Brady, he made a book about like black money and it said all bad things. Like it was bad things about like black people, and it was like how like if they say something like what you're supposed to do, and that's why they were saying that they were just waiting for trouble because of what this guy made his book. So when Emmett came, they were gonna show everyone like what happens if you come across them.
Yeah.
I remember I was looking it up last night. Something.
Yeah, and then over here they were like being racist too. They were like,
The sign
All the
says reading room
colors
for
over
colored
there.
only.
yeah, and then all the
Like these people, it says these people like they were actually trying. They're like the opposite of KKK. They were like the good side of them,
Yeah, not
and they
the
were
bad
trying to
side.
like put up signs to say that colored people can go here and be with other people too.
Yeah,
and Lamar Smith, he was trying to like help them, but he got shot.
Making it more like diverse in some areas.
If you search up the KKK people, it's really creepy because they're just like
Yeah.
nasty. And
I
stuff.
think
Like,
Abraham
they
Lincoln
set
should have
fire
like
to, a cross or
added to the
something,
deal,
and-
not only like slavery, but they have to stop like treating them like
I
animals.
remember I saw a movie and it actually put like black people up on a cross and they would burn them on a cross. And I was like, that movie was like, I was like, whoa, I
It's
wanna
just
go.
Yeah, and
slowly
they're holding
disturbing stuff.
torches and stuff.
Yeah, they
in the
were
picture.
torches, and then they'll celebrate and stuff after, like, and then they'll
Like,
burn
it's
down
like a
people's
peace,
houses.
but
Wait.
Yeah, and they were happy
Abraham
about
Lincoln
it.
ended slavery. If I were him, I would have added more to the deal, like stop slaving them
But
and
still,
be nice
you have
to
to
them.
think about it. About those times, there was really nothing you could do as a
could stop,
government.
but-
Yeah, but at the time, nice wasn't like a powerful word. That meant like nothing to them.
Yeah.
And you're thinking different because in our days it's like, oh, they could have did this, they could have did that, but in those times you got to think differently because this is how everyone, kids and stuff, grown up since they were like little, even their parents. So you have to think about how the government was back then. Because now from us it's different because they stopped all that and we like can go to school about like any culture.
I think Emmett's mom should have been like, I don't know the risk, but his cousins might do something bad, so she should be like, no, this.
You can't just blame it on the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom thought he was going to be safe.
Yeah.
He made some poor decisions, but he also helped the civil rights movement.
His mom was thinking
So-
that.
Mother, it was his mom.
It was his mother.
Things must have been so different, like in Mississippi than Chicago.
And then like
One of these pages, it said that they 13 months ahead they were. Right? No, I can't find it. Oh, right here. Brady unknowingly foreshadowed the Emmett Till case 13 months before it happened.
yeah. And also the Supreme Court made like a decision of landmark segregation. Emmett and his friends like thought that decision would have little effect, but it was pretty big. So
Well, I don't
Oh,
really understand. On page 42, he said, why was he doing all that work with his mom to get money? Did they need
I
more
think
money?
they said something about like
Yeah.
because the father maybe.
because it says right here, Mom, if you can go to work and make the money, I could take care of them.
Yeah.
So,
So why did they need to make all that money? Did they like? were
Because
gonna
they
lose
didn't
their
have
house?
the dad, right? So
Yeah,
that
the dad
probably
was gone.
wouldn't be hard. Yeah, that I mean not.
On
it'd
page
probably be hard
on page
'cause they're
44,
really bad.
it says there's a quote. It says, and two of the boys that he grew up with, they were going back to Mississippi. That's what Emmett wanted to do. So maybe Emmett has been to Mississippi before because it says they were going back.
If he meets a white woman, he has to like step off the street and lower his head and not look up.
I don't get why.
You don't know what taboo means?
We were wondering what taboos mean because we were reading on page 35 and it was saying
Taboo.
taboos.
Okay. So look at the sentence that it's used in. Read the sentence, the whole sentence.
Mississippians or the policies and taboos established by Jim Crow laws.
We thought it was a
Okay.
bad thing.
So what's a policy?
A rule.
A rule? Okay. All right. So
I think it's a
looking-
law.
you think it's a law?
Because over here it also
It's
says,
kind of like a rule. It's kind of like a law. You think? Why do you think that?
because it says that many 14-year-old boys possessed led to him to violate one of the South's most fiercely protected taboos. That the laws could also be substituted for that.
Okay. So laws would work as a substitute in there.
We also thought it was like a bad thing
Why?
because like when you hear it, it says policies and we knew about Jim Crow, how he was. So we thought of it as a bad thing. Ashma, we were talking about it. We thought it was a bad
Good
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Good law is maybe like a bad one.
Yeah, because
Okay.
who they were and what they did.
Okay. You're both right. And you both use the context as to figuring out why or what that word was. And honestly, based on what you thought it was and based on what you thought it was, if you had continued reading going forward, would everything else kind of made sense if you had substituted bad thing or had substituted law? Yeah, everything kind of makes sense, right? So you were both right. It's basically like a no-no. It's a taboo. Taboo is like an official or unofficial no-no. It could be an official thing like a law, as a no-no law, like you're not supposed to do this, okay? Like you're not supposed to kill each other.
Yeah.
It's taboo. It's a taboo law, okay? It's a no-no. So basically, that's what it's saying. It's kind of an unofficial law. It's not a law, but it's a no-no. You definitely don't do it if you're this person in this place. Good job. All right, you guys got through it. Keep going.
Yeah,
But if
right here
I
on
would
page
not have gone
27
to Mississippi.
says social opportunities was significantly better for blacks and whites in Chicago than it was in most southern cities.
Mississippi Southern or Mississippi's in the eastern
I know, that's what I...
Why weren't there as
They have
well-paying
that
jobs
same southern
in the South? It says there's not as well-paying jobs as there were in
Probably because of the
North.
water and the crops, maybe.
Yeah.
Because there's more water in
In the North
yeah.
than in the South.
Oh, it says, like, where you are, it says in the picture, High Court bans segregation in public schools. Like, does that mean
They banned segregation.
so whites and blacks could
Could
go to school together?
Yeah.
Well, that's in the North, but in the South,
Oh,
Yeah, they have two different.
Yeah, in the
story.
South it was,
Jada, go on mute.
South is way worse.
yeah.
I think it still is in Chicago.
Yeah,
The
because
South is.
when I
that's
go
where
to
all the
when I go
shootings
to like Bulls games, like the basketball team, I see like kind of gangs walking home.
are. Yeah, that's where the shootings are in the South.
Yeah.
Way worse.
The North was better than the South.
Yeah.
They were less harsh.
I mean, because there are lots of people like on this walking home from games after like a really special event, so there can be lots of.
From the first, I have a connection from the first chapter. It says you have to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am. And that really made me think because he said yeah to the white guy who was kidnapping him, and he goes, "Don't say yeah to me." And I think that was like, and now I know why. Because now you have to say yes, sir, or yes, not yeah. You have to be very proper.
Yeah,
with
because
them.
yeah is like what you say to your friends, and if you don't know,
it's not formal.
yeah,
Especially when, like, you know you're about to get kidnapped, you probably
Kill
want to...
you probably want to be safe and say yes, sir, and no.
Like, just be as polite as you can and not push it.
Especially if you're talking to a white person. Like back then, if you were black and you were talking to a white person, you would have to address them very formal.
Here you go.
I guess I'll
Okay, I'll just read Jada's. Okay, so what should we? Oh yeah, we have to read that on my own, right? Okay, so hers says, "What would you do if you were in Emmett's place?"
I would listen to his mother and not find ways around her. Think it was silly.
Yeah. Like, don't try going around the problem, just go, like, kind of go with it.
Okay, and listen to my parents.
I'm off mute now.
Because if you listen to parents, they're not gonna. It's not gonna. I mean, no bad things are not gonna happen to them. I mean, good things will happen. I mean,
Yeah.
they may not, but it's
There's
guaranteed
always
that
good
bad
endings
things.
somewhere.
Bad things won't happen if you listen to your parents.
I was thinking that if I was in Emmett's place, I said I would have listened to my mother and thought about what she said before I did it, but also I was thinking about what if I was in that place? You
Yeah,
don't
if
really
you
know what
pretend like
happened.
something else happened to another person. Pretend like you were in that problem.
What is
Or would
and you
you
don't
do-
really know what happened. It's
Yeah.
just off of what people remember, but you don't really know what happened with Emmett and how all of it started. So I guess
Yeah, because she might have. The
but-
woman might have stretched the truth a little
But
bit.
not really. You can't just really talk about the one with his cousins, because that's the main people he was with. Besides the one she said her part, but more about the guys.
Page 34. What does it mean to be a registration activist?
maybe it's support activist, just like
because it says
supporting.
You're supporting someone.
Oh, that means like he was registered to actually like come and vote. Cause you know how certain people could only vote.
Yeah.
So I think he was
Now
registered.
make something up.
Yeah, certain people were registered.
And the guy was shot and killed on the courthouse lawn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I guess he was going to do something and stop it. And
daylight.
they killed him. In daylight. That was like, I was like, whoa, in daylight?
And no witnesses came to. And he was never
That's
like
kinda
caught.
sad.
Yeah, like there's no one
It
over
was
there.
so
And
like the
they,
Emmett Till dude too. Like they said that no one, it was somebody heard it now, but they have
But
no
no
way to
one saw
prove
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe the Emmett Till's murderers were guilty. I mean, innocent.
They no after when more stuff came on Jim Crow, he actually got sentenced, and the mom she fought for justice, and I think it was like 30 to 35 years she fought for justice,
Oh, she tried to make him guilty.
No, yeah, and then after all that, he actually got, for all the stuff he did, the KKK and all that, he finally got a sentence life in jail.
Wait, what did he do? What that? He murdered him until what else did he do?
He had a KKK. That KKK was pretty much his stuff that he created, and it went around.
And he also murdered other people too, I think, like a person before it.
Is there like a meaning to?
Wait, I thought you said the the judge was white and
Yeah,
The judge
so
was
he
white,
is kind
but
of being biased
yeah.
still.
Yeah,
but-
she was being biased. He was being biased.
They should have had like half like.
I have like 2 judges and have 1 black and 1 white, or one that's is not biased as much as
I think that's why she mostly fought for justice.
yeah.
She
'cause
knows
it was
the
mostly
thing.
biased.
Like how we had stories about relationships with white girls.
Yeah.
On page 48, it says John and his friends were spellbound with stories of white girls of forbidden fruit.
But he was lying because it said the Mississippi boys believed every story they
Yeah, and
heard,
it
no
says
matter
they made
how
a gullible
Yeah.
audience.
So he's probably making some lies.
That probably like gets him to like say more stories.
Did you guys
because it made him really popular too. It says.
Wait, did Emmett carry photos of white women?
Yeah, and his wallets. Yeah,
Can you like cut them out?
that's what impressed the boys like the most.
Oh yeah. And also,
Yeah, he cut them out and carried them in his wallet.
Alright, for Ice E, I put the life in Chicago that differed from the South.
yeah, that's what I put
And
too.
then what did you guys
For ICC, my question, I did how did Emmett attract the attention of local money?
Then all of us. Then
What
me,
was
Tom.
yours, guys?
put? We did the differed from the South for the blacks.
Like
well,
with
the North was a little
Chicago.
It says life in Chicago differed with the South for the blacks because I put Chicago had better jobs and more freedom.
And Chicago had less segregation. Like,
There was still segregation. It said that there was still segregation.
Yeah, there probably was. I mean, if it's.
It says there is. It
but
says
Chicago had like less. Like,
Yeah, it had less. So there wasn't as much.
like blacks and whites could go to school together. Like,
Yeah, I think they got over that part.
South was more harsh on it.
yeah, but it said segregation on page 27. It said in Chicago segregation still existed, of course, but the 500,000 blacks in Chicago had many more opportunities and more freedom than their southern counterparts.
Yeah.
Which means that there was still segregation, but I guess not as much.
Yeah, it's probably better there.
It said the North was significantly better for blacks and whites in Chicago than it was in most southern cities. And Emmett knew about segregation. I don't know why.
Yeah,
So why would you just
I think he had segregation where he was living too.
He lived in a
Well,
segregated
probably in
neighborhood.
Chicago, like they probably wouldn't go that extreme and end up killing him.
Yeah.
But
Wait, so when
think
he was
they
killed,
were-
he was in the South?
No, yeah,
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
Mississippi. But I think like the rules were just
He was in
like
Mississippi because
in Chicago were not as strict as
The South is that hard.
Right, and grow children together in classrooms and not have integration. They would sing together, dance together, eat together, and play together. They would grow up together. And it's like the sensitivity of the white children will be dulled. And I think if it said that's how it worked out in the North. I think if they had the attitude back then, it would have still never been no segregation.
Yeah, I think the picture on page 30 was good because she was showing her child that she could go to school with other people.
I think there was probably some religion that wrote their own Bible saying that, and a lot of people.
Yeah, that's how the KKK was.
What?
Because the kid probably wouldn't care though, because they probably don't know anything.
They don't really.
Yeah, she's
They don't
young.
really know right now. But
Yeah,
after
she
they
just
go to
Yeah, there's also some
fifth
black
grade.
people who white
Sixth
people were friends with, but then their parents were like, no, don't go to his house. Don't
But they
go
also
here."
got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, children.
Okay, so in 5th grade, my teacher read this read aloud or something. It was about a African American girl and a white girl, and the segregation was over. And they moved there, and they went to the same school, and she was the only African American. And yeah,
Did all
Yeah.
fifth grade teachers read that?
no,
We didn't read that.
Miss Carney read it,
Oh, she did that. Yeah.
or was it
I
4th
remember
grade?
reading that.
I don't know.
And then this paragraph down here.
What page?
Yeah.
Oh, what I was reading?
Kind of like
Oh, yeah, that what I was reading.
sad because it's like completely the opposite.
Of what
Like they
you would
can't
think.
sing together, dance together, eat together, and play together.
Emmett Till didn't have a really inspiring childhood because the wars and stuff.
Because
Yeah.
that's was he born when segregation was happening?
Yeah, and there was a World War II during his childhood.
Yeah, and he didn't even get to see it.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and cut you off here just a little bit early so we have time to wrap up. Obviously, I didn't have time to get to all of your assignments. So you need to make sure real quick that your name is on both of your assignments. Okay. You guys did a very good job today of staying on task, redirecting yourselves when you got stuck. Very good clarifying question there. I'm glad that you guys tried to figure it out yourself, and you pretty much did figure out that taboo word on your own. And you just had me to kind of help clarify it for you, so that was good work there as well. Did an excellent job preparing for today's meeting. I gave some of you explicit feedback on your ICICs and your QARs. Make sure you look at that carefully when you go to do your work for next week. We're going to continue to get better week after week, and then the last week will be the final, the summative that we're going to have, that we're going to make sure that you know how to do this, and you're going to show me how to do a perfect QAR and a perfect paragraph, and you guys will all speak loud and clearly in your group discussions. So that's my expectation by the end of this unit. Right now you're just practicing, you're working on it, you're getting there, and you're doing a great job so far, so thank you very much for that. I need you to make sure, again, your names are on your sheets if I didn't grade yours, and then you need to make sure that they're together, and just go ahead and leave them in a pile on your desk. Leave them in a pile on your desk. Everybody, just leave them in a pile on your desk, okay? If you need a QAR, make sure you get a new QAR from your teacher. If you have them graded, you can keep them and use them starting right away tomorrow, okay? Great job, guys. Thank you very much. Great job. You guys can go ahead and go back to class.
Make sure to put the teacher's name.
And we need a new QAR sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure you get one from your teacher. She should have extra in there for you. And then you guys, I have my extra in the classroom as well, okay? All right, go on back in.